Stop for a moment and answer this. Have you ever felt lonely in a noisy crowd? Not because no one is around, but because no one really understands you. But imagine, one day you choose to stand alone, not because you are abandoned, but because you realize that true strength comes from within yourself. Would you dare to walk the path that others do not dare to choose? Would you be brave enough to stand alone and say, I am enough? Don't confuse loneliness with freedom. There are people who are afraid of silence because it forces them to face their true selves. But you are different. You don't hide. You know that it is in that silence that you find strength that the world cannot take away. Let me tell you a story about a person who doesn't need validation from anyone, doesn't need a cheering crowd, but still shines in a way that no one expected. And maybe, that story, is you. Introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a woman stand alone, not because she wants to, but because she refuses to settle for less than what her soul deserves? Life often presents us with moments when the easiest thing to do is blend in, to surround ourselves with people just to escape the silence. But a woman who dares to walk alone, that's a woman who understands the immense power she carries within. Walking solo in a world that celebrates companionship isn't a sign of weakness, it's a testament to her strength. This isn't the kind of strength that comes from luck or convenience. No, it's built through countless moments of challenge, growth, and solitude. True independence isn't handed out, it's earned. It's a quiet resilience, a fierce belief in oneself that doesn't waver when the crowd isn't there to cheer her on. This woman doesn't walk alone because she rejects relationships or companionship. She walks alone because she knows she doesn't need them to define her worth. She isn't waiting for validation from others or for someone to complete her story. Her value isn't tied to a network, a tribe, or the opinions of those around her. It's rooted deep within. She owns her path, her struggles, and her triumphs, embracing every step as an essential part of her journey. And when life throws its challenges her way, she doesn't crumble, she doesn't look outward for solutions. Instead, she looks inward, trusting her instincts, her wisdom, and the lessons she's gathered along the way. Society may tell her that her power lies in numbers, in belonging to a group, but she knows better. Her power lies in the fact that she can stand tall on her own, unshaken and unapologetic. This isn't just survival, it's thriving. It's walking through the world with a quiet confidence, a sense of purpose that doesn't waver whether the room is full or empty. She's proof that independence isn't loneliness, it's freedom. Freedom to be herself, to live on her terms, and to own her story every step of the way. So, the next time you see a woman standing alone, don't mistake it for isolation. Recognize it for what it truly is: strength, courage, and unyielding self-belief. What sets a self-sufficient woman apart is her ability to harness an extraordinary internal strength, one that doesn't waver in the absence of others' opinions or support. Unlike those who feel adrift without external validation, she remains unshakable. When people leave, she doesn't falter. When adversity strikes, she doesn't crumble. Instead, she taps into a deep reservoir of resilience, a strength forged through life's challenges, one that she has built steadily over time. She knows that the only person she can always count on is herself, and for her, that is more than enough. This isn't just about emotional toughness, it's about the freedom to navigate life on her own terms. A self-sufficient woman doesn't require constant validation or approval from others to feel secure in her decisions. She owns her choices, takes full responsibility for her actions, and understands that her life is hers to shape. Independence is more than just standing tall in the face of challenges. It's having the courage to stand alone in her beliefs, her values, and her vision for the future. While it's easy to follow the crowd, chase trends, or do what's convenient, she isn't interested in taking the easy route. For her, it's about doing what's right for herself, even when it goes against societal expectations. Her independence stems from a profound self-awareness, an ability to tune out the noise of the world, and a commitment to listen to her own voice. She doesn't seek to please others, she seeks to live authentically, making decisions that align with her truth. This kind of self-sufficiency isn't merely a survival mechanism, it's empowerment. It's the confidence to know that she can handle whatever life throws at her, on her own. She doesn't rely on others to solve her problems or guide her through the storm. Instead, she becomes her own compass, charting her own course and carving her own space in the world. Her independence allows her to thrive, even when she walks alone. She understands that true strength lies not in the support of others but in her ability to rely on herself, to trust her instincts, and to take charge of her destiny. This is rare and remarkable, a testament to a kind of power that few are willing to cultivate. So, when you see her, walking tall and unshaken, know this: she's not just surviving. She's thriving, unapologetically, on her own terms. A self-sufficient woman doesn't just make her own decisions, she takes charge of every aspect of her life. Mentally, emotionally, and physically, she knows how to care for herself. She's not waiting for someone to come and fix her problems or save her from life's challenges. Instead, she owns her happiness, her health, and her future. This is where her true power lies. She isn't at the mercy of anyone else. Her strength doesn't come from reliance on others, it comes from the confidence she's built within herself. This doesn't mean she never needs help or refuses to connect with others. But when she seeks support, it's on her own terms. She's not dependent on anyone for survival or self-worth. She has built a life she can sustain independently, and that is a rare and extraordinary thing. Far from isolating her, this independence enriches her relationships. She doesn't form connections out of desperation or need, she chooses them because she values the people in her life. This creates a balance and mutual respect in her relationships that many never achieve. She doesn't cling to others to feel whole, instead, her self-sufficiency allows her to embrace companionship as a choice, not a necessity. Her relationships are grounded in mutual appreciation, not dependency, making them stronger and more meaningful. Independence is her ultimate freedom. It liberates her from the constraints of others' opinions, expectations, and judgments. It gives her the courage to walk her own path, guided by her inner compass. A truly self-sufficient woman isn't afraid to walk alone because she knows she's enough. She understands that she carries everything she needs within herself, not just to survive, but to thrive. Wherever life takes her, she knows she's equipped for the journey. Her strength isn't about rejecting others but about embracing her own completeness. She isn't defined by external circumstances, she defines herself. And in that, she finds not just freedom but an unshakable sense of purpose and peace. Embracing solitude for personal growth. In life, we're often led to believe that surrounding ourselves with as many people as possible is the key to fulfillment. But a woman who chooses to walk through life with a small, intentional circle of relationships understands a deeper truth. It's not about how many people are in your life, but about the authenticity, depth, and meaning of those connections. While many chase popularity and large social circles to feel validated, she knows that true worth isn't found in numbers, it's found in the quality of the bonds we cultivate. Some people fill their lives with fleeting, surface-level relationships, hoping that the constant noise and activity will shield them from loneliness. But these connections rarely nourish the soul. They're temporary placeholders, lacking the depth to truly sustain us when life gets hard. A woman who values quality over quantity is different. She understands that not everyone deserves access to her time, energy, or heart. Friendship, to her, isn't about collecting people, it's about fostering genuine, meaningful relationships that stand the test of time. She doesn't waste time with superficial interactions or small talk. She seeks relationships that challenge her, uplift her, and allow her to grow. She craves conversations that matter, connections that resonate, and people who see her for who she truly is, not for what she can offer in a fleeting moment. This approach to relationships takes courage. It's easy to surround yourself with acquaintances to avoid feeling alone, but it takes wisdom and strength to seek out true connection and to embrace solitude when necessary. A woman who values quality knows the beauty of having even one or two real, trustworthy friends. She doesn't measure her life by the size of her social circle but by the strength of the bonds within it. She's uninterested in the appearance of connection and focused on its substance. She knows that genuine relationships take time, patience, and vulnerability, and that they're worth every bit of effort. Choosing quality also means knowing when to let go. People come and go in life, and not every relationship is meant to last forever. She understands this and doesn't cling to connections that no longer serve her growth or well-being. Letting go isn't a failure, it's an act of strength and self-respect. This is the wisdom of a woman who values quality. She's not afraid to stand alone if it means waiting for the right connections. She prioritizes relationships that add depth and meaning to her life and lets go of anything that doesn't align with her values. In doing so, she creates a life filled not with noise but with purpose, authenticity, and love. A woman who values quality over quantity in her relationships is unshaken by the idea of being alone. She doesn't cling to people out of fear or insecurity. Instead, she has the confidence to release what no longer serves her, even if it means having fewer people in her life. It's never easy to let go of relationships, especially those built on years of history and emotional investment. But she understands that holding on to toxic, draining, or unfulfilling connections only holds her back from the peace and growth she deserves. She knows that walking alone is far better than staying surrounded by people who don't truly care about her or who compromise her well-being. Protecting her energy and her peace is her priority, not maintaining the illusion of a connection for the sake of appearances. This mindset also transforms how she approaches new relationships. She doesn't rush into friendships or collect acquaintances to fill some societal checklist. She's patient and intentional, taking her time to understand people's intentions, their values, and whether they align with hers. She isn't seeking perfection in others, but she does seek authenticity. If a relationship feels forced, unbalanced, or one-sided, she has no hesitation in stepping back. True connection, she knows, can't be fabricated or rushed. She's willing to wait for the right people to come into her life, even if it means standing alone in the meantime. By choosing quality over quantity, she liberates herself from the pressure to conform to society's expectations. The world often equates success with the size of your social circle, the number of events you attend, or how connected you appear. But she knows this kind of validation is hollow. Her focus isn't on keeping up appearances, it's on cultivating meaningful, genuine relationships that add real value to her life. In the quiet moments when she's alone with her thoughts, she doesn't feel lonely. That's because the relationships she does have are deeply fulfilling and profoundly real. These are the people who truly matter, the ones who show up when life gets hard, who support her without conditions, and who walk beside her with unwavering loyalty. She understands that her worth isn't measured by the number of people in her life but by the richness of the connections she shares. And in choosing quality over quantity, she has built a foundation of strength, peace, and authenticity that allows her not only to stand alone but to thrive in every sense of the word. A woman who values quality over quantity in her relationships doesn't need a large circle to feel secure. The connections she has are rich, meaningful, and more than enough. This approach allows her to be fully present for the people in her life, creating deeper and more authentic bonds. When you're stretched thin trying to maintain dozens of shallow friendships, it's impossible to give your full attention to anyone. But by focusing on a select few, she has the time and energy to truly invest in those who matter most, forging relationships built on trust, respect, and mutual understanding. This mindset isn't just about friendships, it's a philosophy for living. It's about recognizing that not everything that shines is valuable. It's about choosing depth over superficiality, meaning over appearances. A woman who understands this isn't tempted by the allure of popularity or the need for constant validation. She walks her path with quiet confidence, knowing that the few true connections she holds are worth infinitely more than 100 hollow ones. For her, it's not the number of relationships but the depth of them that enriches her life. Self-reflection and personal growth are powerful forces in her journey, and solitude provides the perfect environment for these to thrive. When a woman finds herself alone or without a large social circle, she has an opportunity many overlook, the chance to truly understand herself on a deeper level. Friendships can offer insight and growth, but solitude offers a rare and uninterrupted space to focus solely on her own development, free from external distractions or influences. In this space, self-reflection becomes a transformative tool. It sharpens her awareness, deepens her understanding of her strengths, and enhances her ability to thrive. Solitude isn't something she fears, it's something she embraces. It allows her to reconnect with herself, realign her priorities, and build a stronger foundation for her future. By valuing quality in her relationships and in her life, she cultivates a deeper sense of purpose and peace. She doesn't chase what's fleeting or superficial because she understands that real fulfillment comes from within. And with this clarity, she creates a life filled with meaningful connections, intentional choices, and the freedom to walk her path with unwavering strength and self-assurance. Developing emotional resilience. In a world saturated with noise and endless social interaction, it's easy to lose sight of who you truly are. Many people define themselves by the roles they play: friend, daughter, partner. But when those roles are stripped away, what remains? This is where the magic of solitude begins. Without the constant pull of external expectations and obligations, a woman is left with herself, and in that space, she can discover who she truly is. Solitude provides a rare opportunity to ask life's most profound questions. What do I want? What do I believe in? Who am I when no one else is around? These questions require courage and honesty, but a woman embracing solitude doesn't shy away from them. Without distractions, she faces herself fully and unapologetically, diving deep into self-reflection. This isn't about being hard on herself, it's about looking inward with compassion and curiosity. She explores her experiences, dreams, fears, and desires. She uncovers the patterns that shape her behavior, the emotional triggers that challenge her, and the strengths that set her apart. This introspection isn't always comfortable, but it's essential for true growth. Without the noise of friendships or societal pressures shaping her actions, she has the freedom to focus on her own thoughts and aspirations. There's no need to perform for others or conform to external expectations. Instead, solitude becomes a sanctuary where her inner voice, the one so often drowned out, can finally be heard. And when she listens closely, that voice speaks volumes. Through this time alone, she realizes that personal growth isn't a destination, it's a lifelong journey. Every challenge, every failure, and every triumph offers a lesson. Solitude allows her to embrace these lessons without distraction, nurturing a deeper understanding of herself. It's not about cutting herself off from the world, but about reconnecting with her core. In this fertile ground of quiet, she finds clarity, strength, and purpose. She learns to trust herself in ways she never imagined, discovering that her worth and identity are not dependent on others. Solitude, rather than being a void, becomes a canvas for her to paint a richer, more authentic version of herself. And in that stillness, she grows into the woman she's always meant to be: strong, self-aware, and whole. In the quiet embrace of solitude, a woman begins to form her own thoughts and opinions, unfiltered by the expectations or approval of others. Free from the collective views of a group, she gains the independence of thought that empowers her to see the world through her own lens. This clarity allows her to craft a perspective that is uniquely hers, giving her a deeper connection to her values and beliefs. Solitude also serves as a mirror, reflecting the unresolved issues she may have been avoiding. Friendships, while valuable, can sometimes act as distractions, diverting attention from emotional pain, insecurities, or unmet goals. Without those diversions, she is faced with the truth of her inner world. This confrontation can be uncomfortable, even painful, but it is also deeply healing. She learns to address her past wounds, release old narratives that no longer serve her, and step into a future unburdened by unresolved emotions. One of the most transformative aspects of solitude is its ability to reveal her resilience. Without others to lean on, she discovers her capacity to navigate challenges independently. She becomes more resourceful, more self-reliant, and more confident in her ability to handle life's twists and turns. This newfound strength fosters a profound sense of self-trust, a cornerstone of personal power. When a woman trusts herself, she becomes unstoppable, grounded in the knowledge that she can face whatever comes her way. But solitude isn't just about facing difficulties, it's also a time to celebrate victories. In the stillness, she can reflect on how far she's come, honoring her accomplishments without the need for external validation. She doesn't have to downplay her success to make others comfortable or seek approval to feel worthy. Instead, she claims her growth, resilience, and unique qualities unapologetically. This process of self-acknowledgement builds her self-esteem and reinforces an important truth: she is enough, exactly as she is. In solitude, she finds not just her strength but her joy, a quiet, unshakable confidence in her ability to thrive on her own terms. This time alone becomes a powerful chapter in her journey, shaping her into a woman who not only understands herself but celebrates the fullness of her individuality. Through the journey of self-reflection, a woman gains a deeper clarity about her future and the life she wants to create. In this solitude, she is free from the weight of others' expectations and can focus entirely on what aligns with her true desires. She begins to set goals with intention, whether it's the career she wishes to pursue, the relationships she hopes to cultivate, or the lifestyle she envisions. Without the influence of friends or societal pressures, she charts her own course, guided solely by her values and aspirations. Some of the most profound personal growth occurs not in the company of others but in the quiet spaces of solitude. It's here that she can reflect, reassess, and rebuild herself from the inside out. This growth isn't loud or sudden, it's steady, deliberate, and transformative. It's not about dramatic changes but about the small, meaningful steps that lead her closer to becoming the woman she wants to be. By taking the time to truly understand herself and nurture her spirit, she experiences a gradual evolution that feels authentic and fulfilling. Solitude becomes her sanctuary, offering her a rare gift, the opportunity to connect with herself on a deep and profound level. Far from being a void, it is a space for healing, self-reflection, and empowerment. In this quiet, she learns that the most important relationship she will ever have is the one with herself. This connection strengthens her, reminding her that she is whole and worthy, even in the absence of external validation. One of the most empowering realizations she embraces is that her worth is not tied to her social connections or popularity. Society often equates value with the size of one's social circle, measuring success by the number of friends or the frequency of social invitations. But a woman who walks her path alone boldly rejects this notion. She understands that her value comes not from how many people surround her but from her authenticity and inner strength. This choice to live authentically, free from the expectations of others, requires immense courage. She is stepping away from the narrative that her fulfillment depends on external validation. Instead, she defines her own success, builds her own happiness, and chooses a life that feels true to her. This quiet rebellion against societal norms is a testament to her confidence and self-assurance. Walking alone doesn't signify isolation, it signifies freedom. Freedom to live on her terms, to pursue her dreams without compromise, and to surround herself only with what adds real meaning to her life. In choosing herself, she reclaims her power, proving that a fulfilling life isn't about being surrounded by many but about being deeply connected to oneself. Self-care and self-respect. Society often bombards us with the notion that happiness, success, and fulfillment come from conforming to a specific mold, one that involves constant socializing, engaging in group activities, and cultivating a wide network. But a woman who knows her worth sees beyond these superficial measures. She understands that her value doesn't depend on how well she fits into society's narrow definitions. Her worth stems from her talents, character, intellect, and heart, not from her ability to adhere to societal norms. Living authentically means rejecting conformity, recognizing it for the trap it often is. It's easy to fall into the cycle of pleasing others, doing what's expected, and molding oneself to fit the expectations of friends, family, or society at large. But a woman who has found comfort in solitude knows the power of stepping away from these constraints. She is no longer playing a part in someone else's story. She's creating her own, writing her narrative with purpose and intention. This decision to live authentically doesn't happen overnight. It's a result of self-reflection, growth, and a willingness to truly get to know oneself. In her solitude, she discovers the importance of staying true to who she is. She learns that conforming to societal expectations only leads to frustration, unhappiness, and a disconnection from her inner truth. By stepping away from the crowd, she aligns more closely with her purpose, passions, and personal goals. The freedom that comes with rejecting societal pressure is transformative. When a woman releases the need to worry about others' opinions, she unlocks the ability to focus on what truly matters in her life. She realizes that external validation is fleeting, but the fulfillment that comes from living authentically is lasting. This liberation allows her to pursue her passions, build a life that resonates with her soul, and surround herself with experiences and relationships that add real meaning. By choosing authenticity over approval, she claims her power. She stands firm in her individuality, unshaken by the expectations of a world that often demands conformity. In doing so, she sets an example for others, showing that true happiness doesn't come from fitting into someone else's idea of success but from living boldly, freely, and unapologetically as herself. Doesn't require the validation of others. She doesn't need to follow the crowd or fit into prescribed molds to feel accepted. Her confidence doesn't rely on approval. It's rooted in the certainty of her own choices, even when they lead her down a path that diverges from the one society expects. This is the power of living authentically. A woman stands firm in her decisions, unapologetic and unafraid, even when her choices challenge societal norms. Choosing authenticity doesn't mean that a woman rejects all social connections or isolates herself from the world. Rather, it means she is deliberate in who she allows into her life. She surrounds herself with people who respect and appreciate her for who she truly is, not who they want her to be. These relationships are built on mutual respect, understanding, and honesty, not convenience or superficiality. By curating a circle that adds genuine value to her life, she creates an environment rich in meaning and connection, one that thrives even if it's small in number. Living authentically also means embracing the fact that her journey won't mirror anyone else's. Society often pressures women to meet certain milestones. By a certain age, you should have a specific social circle, a particular kind of life, and certain accomplishments. But a woman who rejects these pressures understands that life is not a race to meet someone else's timeline. Her journey is uniquely her own, and she's perfectly content with that. She's not in competition with anyone. Instead, she focuses on her personal growth, her happiness, and her own path. This shift in mindset is incredibly liberating. It allows her to live with integrity, making choices based not on societal expectations, but on what feels right for her. This authenticity brings peace, because she no longer feels the need to perform, to impress, or to meet unrealistic standards. She is not caught in the web of trying to be someone she's not. Instead, she shows up in the world as her truest self, unapologetically, confidently, and with a sense of deep fulfillment. In choosing authenticity, she is not only creating a life that is uniquely hers, but she is also setting an example. Her journey proves that happiness and success are not determined by fitting into a predefined mold, but by having the courage to forge your own path, regardless of how unconventional it may seem to others. And in doing so, she proves that the most powerful thing any woman can do is live authentically, confidently, and with absolute clarity about who she is and what she stands for. Unshakable. A woman who walks alone learns to face her challenges head-on without relying on external validation or support. She becomes adept at processing her emotions, understanding her feelings, and finding solutions within herself. This journey is not about avoiding vulnerability, but about embracing it and using it as a catalyst for growth. By sitting with her emotions instead of seeking distractions, she develops a deeper connection to her own emotional landscape. Emotional resilience is built through experience, the difficult times, the moments of uncertainty, and the trials of life that push her to grow stronger. She learns to trust herself and her ability to navigate her inner world without needing others to fix or validate her. In fact, this process often leads to a profound sense of empowerment. She discovers that she doesn't need anyone else to define her strength. Her ability to face and overcome challenges is a reflection of the strength she already holds within. This emotional self-reliance doesn't mean that she isolates herself from others or that she shuts people out when needed. It simply means that she no longer depends on others for her emotional well-being. She learns to turn to herself for support and guidance. As a result, her relationships with others shift from dependency to mutual respect. She seeks connections that are based on reciprocity, where both individuals can offer support and understanding, rather than one person leaning heavily on the other. The independence she gains from solitude strengthens her sense of self-worth. She knows that she is capable of handling anything that comes her way, and that her emotions, no matter how challenging, are part of her growth. She becomes more mindful of her emotional health, choosing to invest time in practices that nurture her mental, emotional, and physical well-being. In the absence of constant companionship, a woman learns that she can be her own source of comfort and support. This journey toward emotional resilience not only enhances her own life but also makes her a source of inspiration for others. By showing that she can stand firm on her own, she sets an example for others to do the same. She becomes a beacon of self-sufficiency, demonstrating that true strength comes not from the presence of others, but from the ability to rely on oneself. This emotional resilience creates a ripple effect. As she grows, she influences others to find their own inner strength, to trust themselves, and to know that they too can thrive independently. A woman who walks this path of emotional self-reliance becomes a living testament to the power of solitude and self-trust, proving that sometimes, the greatest support you can receive comes from within. Building inner strength through boundaries. Life's difficulties. She has developed the tools to process her emotions in a way that strengthens her rather than weakens her. Whether it's grief, disappointment, frustration, or fear, she has learned how to feel these emotions without being consumed by them. She understands that emotions are transient, and they don't define her, they are simply signals, guiding her through life's challenges. This resilience comes from a place of deep self-awareness. A woman who has spent time in solitude has learned to tune into her emotions with compassion, not judgment. She doesn't suppress her feelings or run from them. Instead, she embraces them, allowing herself to feel fully without becoming overwhelmed. She might seek out healthy outlets like journaling, meditation, or physical activity to express and release what she feels. In doing so, she creates space for healing. Her emotional self-sufficiency doesn't mean she doesn't need support from others, but it means she doesn't depend on others to make her feel whole or to rescue her from her struggles. She understands that true strength comes from within, from her ability to rise above adversity, learn from it, and move forward with greater wisdom. This emotional resilience extends to how she handles setbacks. When things don't go as planned or when life throws unexpected challenges her way, she faces them with grace and poise. She doesn't react impulsively or give in to despair. Instead, she takes the time to process the situation, assess her options, and choose her response with intention. This ability to navigate hardship without letting it define her is one of the greatest gifts that solitude and self-reflection can offer. As she builds this resilience, she becomes less reactive to the world around her. Instead of seeking external validation or approval, she learns to rely on her inner compass. She knows her worth, and she doesn't need others to confirm it. She builds her self-esteem not through comparison or validation, but through consistent self-care, self-compassion, and the knowledge that she has the strength to handle whatever comes her way. This unmatched emotional resilience also fosters a sense of peace. A woman who can manage her emotions independently is less likely to be affected by drama, conflict, or negative energy from the outside world. She doesn't allow the actions or opinions of others to dictate her emotional state. Instead, she creates a calm, centered space within herself, where she can remain grounded no matter what happens around her. Ultimately, this emotional independence becomes a powerful form of freedom. She is free from the need for constant emotional support from others. She is free from the expectations of society that tell her she should always be okay, or that she must rely on others for happiness. She is empowered by the realization that she holds the keys to her emotional well-being, and that no matter what life throws her way, she can handle it with resilience, grace, and confidence. To do it for you. A woman who has developed emotional resilience through solitude understands that rejection and disappointment are natural parts of life, but they don't define her. She knows that these experiences are not a reflection of her worth. Instead of internalizing hurt or letting it diminish her, she processes it, learns from it, and moves forward with greater wisdom and strength. Her ability to handle rejection with grace also stems from her deep sense of self-worth. She doesn't take it personally, nor does she let it affect her view of herself. When someone walks away or a situation doesn't go as expected, she knows that it's not a failure on her part, it's just a part of life. She doesn't feel the need to chase validation or explanations from others. Instead, she lets go of what isn't meant for her and keeps her focus on what truly matters. This emotional resilience also makes it easier for her to face uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and things often don't go as planned, but a woman who is comfortable in her solitude is less fazed by the unknown. She has already learned to navigate the ebb and flow of life on her own terms, and she knows that even in moments of doubt or challenge, she has the inner resources to figure things out. Moreover, emotional resilience allows her to maintain her peace, even when external circumstances are chaotic. Whether it's a misunderstanding, an argument, or an unexpected obstacle, she doesn't let these things disrupt her emotional equilibrium. She stays calm, centered, and focused on what she can control, without letting external negativity derail her. She knows that her peace is non-negotiable, and no matter what is happening around her, she has the power to protect it. One of the most empowering aspects of emotional resilience is that it gives a woman the ability to trust herself completely. She doesn't second-guess her choices, nor does she rely on others for constant reassurance. She knows that her emotions are valid, her instincts are reliable, and she has the strength to navigate whatever life presents. This trust in herself reinforces her independence and strengthens her sense of self-worth. She no longer feels the need to explain herself or justify her decisions to others. She is confident in her own judgment, even if it goes against the grain of what others expect. Emotional resilience allows her to embrace uncertainty and rejection without fear, knowing that she will always come through stronger on the other side. In essence, a woman who has cultivated emotional resilience through solitude is empowered in every sense of the word. She knows how to handle the ups and downs of life with grace, she sets healthy boundaries to protect her peace, and she faces challenges with a calm, confident strength. Her emotional independence is a source of power, allowing her to stand firm in her own truth and build a life based on her values and desires, not the expectations of others. Overlooked in a world focused on social validation and external expectations. Solitude creates the space for a woman to reflect on what truly matters to her, to foster her passions, and to build a life that is deeply fulfilling on her own terms. She no longer feels pressured to meet other people's standards or fit into society's idea of success. Instead, she becomes more aligned with her own values, desires, and purpose, which makes her life richer and more meaningful. By prioritizing her growth, she strengthens her emotional resilience, gains greater clarity, and continues to evolve into the person she's meant to be. Without the constant pull of external opinions or societal expectations, she has the freedom to make choices that are aligned with her authentic self. This freedom fosters a sense of peace, knowing that she is walking a path of her own design, one that's uniquely suited to her growth and happiness. As she focuses on her well-being and personal development, a woman learns to embrace the joy of simply being with herself. She nurtures her mental, physical, and emotional health, understanding that taking care of herself allows her to show up better for those who truly matter in her life. When her own needs are met and she is at peace with herself, she is in a stronger position to engage with others authentically, without feeling drained or compromised. This shift toward prioritizing her growth and well-being also influences the way she approaches relationships. She's no longer in search of validation or approval from others because she has already established her worth from within. Instead of seeking out friendships or connections to fill a void, she cultivates relationships based on mutual respect, support, and shared values. Her interactions become more authentic and meaningful because she brings her full self to the table, free from the need to please or conform. Ultimately, the decision to walk alone, embracing solitude as a source of strength, reflection, and growth, empowers a woman to fully embrace her own worth. She understands that her value is not dependent on anyone else's approval or the quantity of social connections she maintains. Her journey becomes one of self-discovery, emotional independence, and unshakable self-worth, which allows her to create a life that is not only fulfilling but truly her own. This process may take time, but it's a transformative journey that strengthens her from within and frees her from the pressures of external validation. Trusting your own instincts. Strong foundation of well-being that allows her to thrive both mentally and emotionally. This deeper form of self-care is not just about physical rest, but about tuning into her inner needs and giving herself the space to heal, grow, and flourish. When she takes the time to nurture herself, she becomes more grounded, more centered, and better equipped to handle life's challenges. In this solitude, a woman also learns to embrace self-compassion. She becomes her own source of support, offering herself kindness and understanding during times of struggle, rather than judgment. This helps her develop a healthier relationship with herself, free from the constant need for external validation or approval. She understands that self-criticism is not productive, and instead, she fosters an inner dialogue that is constructive and empowering. By choosing solitude, a woman creates a space where she can nurture her creativity, pursue her passions, and invest in the things that truly bring her joy. Whether it's through creative expression, deepening her knowledge, or engaging in activities that bring her peace, she learns that fulfillment doesn't always come from the presence of others, but from the richness of her own experiences. She doesn't need to rely on others to feel complete. She becomes her own source of inspiration. Moreover, this self-awareness and growth allow her to set boundaries more effectively. She recognizes what drains her energy and what supports her well-being. In solitude, she learns how to say no without guilt, understanding that protecting her peace and energy is essential to maintaining a balanced life. She becomes better at prioritizing her time and energy, making intentional decisions about who and what she allows into her life. Ultimately, solitude provides a woman with the space to align with her true desires and values. She no longer feels pressured by external forces to fit into a particular mold or to conform to societal expectations. Instead, she can walk her own path, make choices that resonate with her, and live a life that is authentic and fulfilling. This self-awareness and personal growth lead to greater confidence and empowerment, as she becomes more attuned to her own needs and more capable of creating a life that truly reflects who she is. Allows her to make choices that are aligned with her values, desires, and goals, not influenced by the expectations of others. She becomes more confident in her decisions, understanding that her instincts and intuition are valid guides in her journey. This trust in herself also means that she can handle uncertainties or challenges with a sense of calm, knowing that she has the ability to navigate through them. As her self-trust deepens, she starts to take risks that she might have avoided before, whether it's pursuing a new career path, exploring new hobbies, or making bold life changes. The confidence that comes from trusting herself opens up new possibilities and opportunities that she may have once been too hesitant to pursue. She realizes that she doesn't need to have everything figured out right away, and that mistakes are part of the process, not a reflection of failure. Moreover, this sense of inner trust strengthens her resilience. Life's challenges no longer feel as daunting because she knows she can handle whatever comes her way. She approaches setbacks with a mindset of learning and growth, rather than defeat. Whether it's a personal disappointment, a professional hurdle, or an unexpected life event, her inner strength and self-trust provide the foundation she needs to bounce back and continue moving forward. Self-trust also nurtures her emotional well-being. She learns to listen to her feelings without judgment, and she allows herself to process and heal at her own pace. This emotional self-reliance allows her to create a deeper connection with herself, as she becomes more in tune with her emotional needs and how to meet them in healthy ways. In this way, the solitude that once seemed isolating becomes a powerful tool for personal empowerment. It teaches her that she doesn't need anyone else to feel whole or validated. She has everything she needs within herself to lead a fulfilled, meaningful life. By trusting herself, she not only creates the life she desires but also becomes the most authentic version of herself, rooted in inner peace, strength, and self-love. She becomes more present, more engaged, and more capable of giving her best to others. When a woman fills her own cup first, she can pour into the lives of those around her from a place of abundance, rather than depletion. This creates healthier, more balanced relationships where she can offer love, support, and compassion without sacrificing her own needs or sense of self. This shift also helps her redefine what it means to be truly generous. She learns that true generosity doesn't come from constantly giving to others at the expense of her own well-being. Instead, it's about knowing when to give and when to preserve her energy. It means being able to offer help, kindness, and empathy from a place of strength and vitality, rather than from a place of depletion or resentment. As she grows in self-respect and self-awareness, she also becomes more discerning in the relationships she nurtures. She no longer tolerates relationships that drain her or fail to value her for who she truly is. She learns to set boundaries with grace, ensuring that her time, energy, and emotions are spent in ways that align with her values. This newfound clarity allows her to surround herself with people who uplift her, encourage her growth, and respect her boundaries. Moreover, her purpose-driven life becomes a source of inspiration for others. By living authentically and prioritizing her own well-being, she naturally sets an example of what it means to live with integrity, passion, and self-respect. Others are drawn to her example, not because of any external validation she seeks, but because they can sense the deep inner strength, peace, and clarity that radiate from her. Her example challenges the societal norms that often encourage women to sacrifice themselves for others and instead promotes the idea that personal growth, well-being, and purpose are not selfish pursuits but essential for living a meaningful and impactful life. Through solitude, self-respect, and purpose, a woman discovers that true fulfillment comes from within. She learns that she has the power to shape her own life, define her own worth, and create a future that aligns with her deepest desires. This journey of self-discovery not only leads to personal transformation but also allows her to live a life that is rich in meaning, connection, and fulfillment, on her own terms. Conclusion: thriving in solitude. Absolutely. Walking alone is not a sign of loneliness, but rather an empowering act of self-reliance and personal growth. It's in this solitude that a woman can tap into her own inner strength and uncover a deeper connection to herself. Rather than seeking fulfillment through external sources, she finds peace in her own company, and in doing so, becomes more resilient and confident. By embracing solitude, she learns that true independence isn't about being isolated from others, but about being emotionally and mentally self-sufficient. She understands that her worth is not contingent on the presence or approval of others, but stems from her own sense of purpose, strength, and values. As she walks this path, she becomes more in tune with what she needs to feel truly fulfilled and empowered. This journey shapes her into someone who doesn't just survive life's challenges, but thrives through them, continuously evolving, growing, and learning from every experience. With a solid foundation of self-respect, emotional resilience, and a clear sense of direction, she is not only capable of achieving her goals but of living authentically and with purpose. Ultimately, this process doesn't leave her feeling empty or disconnected, but rather, she becomes a woman who is whole and deeply content with herself. She knows that she is enough, and with that knowledge, she can face whatever comes her way, unshaken and unwavering. She becomes a beacon of strength, dignity, and confidence, inspiring others to walk their own paths toward self-discovery and fulfillment.